This is the Born to Be podcast, where we believe you were created on purpose and for a purpose. Each week, we deliver inspiration and interviews with today's top thought leaders who are living out their unique calling every single day. Are you ready to discover your true identity and become who you were born to be? The future is yet to be created. And now, here's your host, Darren Earlywine.
Have you ever been watching a news story? Maybe you're on Facebook, maybe you're on Twitter. You see something and it inspires you. You think to yourself, oh my gosh, I would love to do something like this. Or maybe I'm supposed to actually do something like this to make a difference. Well, then you're going to love today's interview with the founder and the executive director of the Million Mill Movement, Nancy Hintz. She was just doing that. She was watching TV. She saw a news story, and the rest is history. We're going to hear the story about how Million Mill Movement was founded. Welcome to the Born to Be podcast. I'm your host, Darren Earlywine. Thanks for joining us for another episode as we help you take some next steps to become who you were born to be. And Nancy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
So that's a brief overview, but do you have maybe you fill in the blanks of maybe a little more of an intro to who you are and so people get to know you a little bit more here on the podcast?
Oh, sure. So my husband, Dan, and myself, Nancy, we started Million Mill Movement back in 2006. We saw a segment on NBC Nightly News, and it was something similar to what we do now. I saw a lot of people from many ages, all walks of life, coming together and packing dry ingredients into a bag to help people who were hungry. And what I loved about it was that small children, and like I said, people of all abilities were able to get involved. And I thought that was just a beautiful thing.
Wow. So we record the podcast here in Indianapolis. Are you born and raised here in Indy? Are you from Indiana? What's some of your personal details of kind of your backstory?
Sure. So I was raised in Evansville, Indiana. And then my husband was raised in Fort Wayne, and we met in the middle at IU in Bloomington.
Right on.
He literally pulled my name out of a hat in a Bible study for a secret prayer partner.
Right on.
And it was
prayer paved the way.
Yeah, we call it God's dating service. So yeah.
So, I mean, growing up, I mean, it's interesting. I love the story that you're just watching the news. Something inspires you, and you're like, you know what, we've got to get involved. But a lot of times on the Born to Be podcast, we try to dig back into maybe find some of the roots maybe. And a lot of times people are shocked to see that God was actually planting seeds towards action and towards some of the visions that he's given them. So can you look back into your childhood or maybe young adult season? Was there a time when you were maybe burdened by the idea of hungry kids or of ministry in general? Kind of where do you feel like maybe the seeds of this action and this ministry started for you?
I think God has definitely planted the desire to always want to help others. And in terms of hunger, I learned in my high school years that one of my dearest friends actually struggled with this issue without me realizing it. I remember going to her house and noticed that her house really was just a small basement that where the house wasn't finished. And I learned in the course that her parents gave money to a contractor, and then the contractor left and took all of their money. And as a result, they were struggling. Their money was gone. They had no house. And then all we were able to have for dinner that night was we shared a small box of macaroni and cheese. And just realizing that there are people out there who are working and still not able to make ends meet has stayed with me. And I just feel that if we can do something about it, I would love to be part of that.
Yeah. So when you saw the news story that night, you sit on the couch with your husband, I mean, I think a lot of people have seen something and had, that kind of gentle nudge of like, hey, you could do something about this. Or maybe it's a spark of inspiration, like we should do something. And then the TV show they're watching, gets done, or they get up to, go get a cup of coffee, and then it's like, oh, I'll just forget about that. Like, Why did you guys actually take action on it? Why not just turn the channel to something less inspiring and more maybe numbing and just forget it? Why did you guys actually take action on it?
I can just say it just felt like a burning desire. I have got to do something about this. I do spend time in the Word daily, and I'm always asking God for His guidance. I just felt kind of like that Disney movie Moana, where the ocean insists that she be a part of this mission and direction. I really felt like that in this experience, that this was what we were led to do, honestly. And even through any kind of challenges that we needed to overcome, God always provided. He was always there and just made the way.
How do you go about starting? I mean, I'm guessing this isn't even your full-time job now, right?
Right.
It's like you're basically kind of a volunteer executive director of
permanent volunteer. Yes.
Permanent volunteer.
Yes.
So how does somebody, you've got another job that you're working, you've got your busy life. How do you go about starting a ministry and a service opportunity that has a goal to serve 1 million meals?
Going back to my husband, that was where together we make a perfect team. He had that knowledge. He understood how to start it. And I relied on him on knowing what to do in terms of filling out the correct paperwork and also knowing the right foundation in which to begin it so that it would be on a firm foundation and grow.
Right. And so that was 2005, right? That you saw the art.
I saw the episode, yes.
Episode. Mm-hmm. And then how long did you guys before you were up and running and starting to pack meals?
We had our first packing event November of 2007.
Okay. So just 2 years.
Mm-hmm. No, actually probably a little bit less than that, but yes, correct.
Wow. So what was that year and a half like as you were putting the pieces together to plan it to make it happen?
It was just a matter of trying to figure out how the puzzle pieces all work together. I think one of the questions would be, where are we going to do this? There was a financial investment to be able to start it, but we could not continue that unless we had some sort of sponsorship. And so my husband said, we need to find a location where the space is donated to us. And so once again, prayer, and we started with a partnership with the American Red Cross. And it almost seemed like that was just definitely meant to happen. When I went to visit with them, even before I really made the full presentation on who we are, what we do, the answer almost seemed to me like it was an instant yes. I didn't even really have to say all that much. Is how much I felt like God was with me in that.
Yeah.
And so they donated the space, and it just started to blossom from there.
I mean, kind of unpack for us, because the thing I love about what you guys do is, and we were able to, one of our ministries, Pub Theology, we actually partnered up with you guys for a whole year and did our best to try to pack 100,000 meals for local families here. And there were some of the most fun and interactive events that we had, because there's not a lot of opportunities where you could have your 10-year-old serve right with you. Right. And so is that part of what motivated you guys, is to create something where families could serve together to make a difference?
Yes.
Okay.
At the time, I had two daughters. One was 5 and one was 3. And prior to me learning about these packing events, I was actually searching for ways that I could volunteer with them. And I looked into programs, like Habitat for Humanity or like Meals on for Wheels. And I was thinking I liked those ideas, but one, for Habitat, you had to be 18 years old. And then Meals on Wheels, there were times where I felt like I couldn't even get from the preschool to my house without a preschooler meltdown.
Yeah.
And so I just thought, well, that's not really going to work either. And when I saw this opportunity, I thought I saw even little toddlers flattening the bags. And I think there's something special that happens when small children are able to get involved, and particularly in an event like this where they can visually see the impact that they're making, and on top of that, see their parents helping out. I think those are all moments that help solidify in their growing mind that they do have value and that they can make a difference. And this is something that they will continue on in their adulthood if it's repeated frequently. And I think that's very helpful and powerful for our future community.
Yeah. Well, I know my I've got 3 boys, and they were able to serve with us when we did these events. In fact, I'm excited this Sunday we're going to actually do another meal pack with you guys at our St. Patty's Day pub theology event. And I know for my boys it was an opportunity for us just to be elbow to elbow, making a difference, and they loved it, and they loved the challenge of seeing how they could pack in a half hour and all the different games we put around it. But even more than that, it gave us as a family an opportunity to talk about our opportunity in the community to make a difference and to take care of our neighbors and love them the way that Jesus does. And so, maybe talk to that a little bit, Nancy, about the need, because I know that you guys are focused here in Indianapolis, but I'm sure there's other cities that are similar in stats. So, could you hit us maybe with some of the stats as far as the need even here in Indianapolis for of how big of a deal hunger is?
From what we have found in the last few years, that the need has been growing. Right now, it's 1 in 5 are food insecure. And what that means is that person does not know really where their next meal is coming from. I know there's some confusion on that, but we really don't have folks who are starving per se here in the U.S., but food insecure is really the right terminology for it. And I would say that we're seeing a trend growing even on college campuses. So many students are international, or they are also parents, and we are seeing the need for food pantries to be begun or to expand on college campuses as well. So we're reaching those students. And there is a need also for those who are hungry, who have a food pantry in their county, to find transportation to that food pantry. We try to reach all the counties here in Indiana, but it's the transportation part. Some of these counties are pretty large, and we have learned that some people will ride their lawnmowers to try to get to a food pantry so that they can get food because they don't have access to a car.
So being a part of that, I'm guessing you were somewhat aware of the need even when you saw the news story, but now, since that was in 2007, right, we're looking at, what's the math there? 9, almost 9 years you guys have been in existence. What have you seen since that? Has it just has it expanded your heart? Has it made you more cynical to it? Has it inspired you now that you've been, neck deep in creating it and responding to the need?
Oh, no, I have a tremendous heart for these people, because those who are receiving our food are not eligible for governmental assistance. So these are hardworking people. These are people who have jobs, who are really trying to make ends meet. It's just oftentimes their income does not keep up with the rising cost of living. So oftentimes you'll see senior citizens who have medical costs, and as we know, prescriptions can be pretty costly, that they are often in a situation where they have to choose between food or their medicine or electricity or something like that. Also, we have more and more single parents, and they just simply are not able to keep up with the cost of what their children need for education, as well as paying the rent or mortgage. And so these are people who are trying, and we're just doing our best to give them a meal that has all the vitamins and minerals in it so that they can continue to at least sustain themselves with proper nutrition.
Yeah. Let's talk about the meals, Nancy, because we want you to be involved in what we're doing this year with ActivateIndy. If you go to ActivateIndy.com, you can click on the links there on the website that will connect you to Million Meal Movement. You can sign up to be a part of doing one of the meal packs this year. Let's talk about what they actually pack, though. What's in the meal?
So we have 4 dry ingredients. We have soy, which that is your protein source. Each bag that feeds 6 has the equivalent of protein equal to that of 5 steaks. Then we have rice, which feeds the belly. And then we have the powerhouse, which is the vitamin mineral mix that has all the vitamins and minerals in it that one would need to grow and thrive. And then we have dried vegetables in it because you need to eat your vegetables.
Absolutely. So it's easy to prepare, and you could actually, if you had some other stuff, I guess you could mix it together, throw something, if you want to throw other ingredients in it, but it's ready to go. You can cook it up, and family's ready to go, and it feeds, say, one bag feeds 6, you said?
Has 6 meals in it,
Yeah.
right? And so all you need to do is just boil water and cook it up. I would say we do have some creative people out there who have given us some wonderful recipes, and I believe we have those on the website as well. But some people add salsa, they add mushrooms. It's just many different things that you can do with it.
Yeah. So where does the I guess million meal movement? Where's the million come in?
So we have a signature event every year called the Million Meal Marathon that we partner with the Colts down at Lucas Oil Stadium, where we invite people to come and package food, and it's a lot of fun taking photos along with some of the players and the cheerleaders, and we strive to hit 1 million meals in that event. And then, but even outside of that, we do well over 1 million meals every year. And I think our goal for this year is 2 million meals.
Wow.
Yeah.
So Nancy, is there ever a moment you're just like, maybe it's a Wednesday afternoon, you're having an afternoon cup of coffee, and you think to yourself like, what in the world are we doing? Or sometimes you're just like, I can't believe it. Like, 10 years ago, I just had my life. And this year, because of us being, obedient to that gentle nudge of God, like we're going to actually help, we're going to provide 2 million meals. Does it feel overwhelming sometimes? Do you find yourself just smiling sometimes? I guess what's the result of reflecting on that every once in a while?
I have recently been asked this question a couple of times, and it's hard to describe. I really don't have great words to describe the feeling. It feels amazing in the fact that I think when you are in alignment with God's will, that I would say that it's like a stained glass window. A stained glass window is beautiful by itself, but until you actually have the light shining through it, which is God's light, then it just becomes even more so. And I think that's what He wants of us, is just to completely submit ourselves to Him, and then some wonderful things for His kingdom can be done.
Yeah.
And there's just no better feeling in the world, and I have a really hard time to describe it. That I just think everyone has a plan, or God has a plan for everyone.
Absolutely.
Kind of like in Jeremiah 29:11, declares the Lord that He knows the plans that He has for you.
Yeah.
And I believe that everyone can count on that promise.
Absolutely. Yeah, we talk about it all the time around the podcast. We believe that God's created you on purpose and for purpose. And I love that idea, Nancy, that it's almost like when you find that, when you walk into that, we talk about that the one thing it provides for people, or I guess the 3 things, is a sense of purpose, a sense of peace, and a sense of passion. And I mean, I love that you just said it's just kind of indescribable to look and be like, wow, you know what? Like, you could be just sitting on your couch watching the news again and watching another thing, but to look back and to say, you know what? We've taken the steps, and God has let us step into this purpose, and now we're seeing 2 million people a year even with the meals they need. And so I think another key part of what you guys do, Nancy, is the volunteer element, because it's a very volunteer-driven ministry. You don't have an enormous staff of people, but you really focus on getting people involved, which I think is why you're an amazingly perfect partner for what's going on with ActivateIndy.com this year. But talk about that volunteer experience.
So half of what we do is feed the hungry. The other half of what we do is try to raise the bar on compassion here in the community, and offering that opportunity for those who are hungry to do something about the issues in our community. They have that opportunity. And one of the beautiful things that I love particularly about the marathon that we do, because you can see it on a much larger scale, is you have people from literally all walks of life under the same roof, standing shoulder to shoulder, working to help someone else. And I think that is a beautiful thing, and I think that's a great example of how we should be in the community, in helping. But we have schools, international schools. We have executives, and we have those with disabilities be able to come. We've even had the School of the Blind come and package, and it's just, again, it's just amazing, and I love the fact that everyone is invited.
Yeah. And this is something, somebody's listening right now, and maybe they've got an opportunity at their work where they want to do a day of service, whatever. And you guys, you bring the packing event to them if they'd want to host one. Am I right?
We can, yeah. Actually, we customize it to every client. We offer opportunities to host an event at their location, and then we also offer our location. Should they want to come to our location, we just are limited on space, so it just depends on how the size of their event would be. And then those who really do not have the ability to donate the funds to cover the cost of the ingredients, we also offer opportunities on Fridays in the afternoon that they can come and help out in other ways.
Okay. And so that's, I was looking at that. So it's Fridays, and then it's the every third Saturday of the month?
Of the month that we have a public packing event that they can sign up online to participate in that as well. Mm-hmm.
I love it. I love it. If you want to get some information, maybe bring your group to be a part of it, you can go to ActivateIndy.com. We're partnering with Thrivent Member Network, and they're doing some great stuff in the community. Million Meal Movement is one of our partners this year. ActivateIndy.com is where you can go to get connected with all the information. And Nancy, I guess maybe as we wrap up is maybe there's somebody right now that's listening, and they just watched a news story last night, or they've been reading a book, or they've had a conversation and they felt inspired. They're like, man, I think maybe I'm supposed to do something about fill in the blank. What encouragement would you give them if they're at that place right now? They felt the inspiration, but maybe they can't figure out how it's going to go, or they don't feel like they're big enough for the challenge, or they just don't feel significant enough to step into it. What kind of encouragement would you give them?
I would encourage them to stay in the Word and keep in the Word daily. I think it takes a very close, very intentional prayer time with God for Him to guide you and show you, and have the faith that He is there beside you. You are not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I count on the verse Matthew 7:7. Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be opened to you. Because God is always with you, and He is not going to have you here and give you a purpose in your mind and then not stay there with you to walk you through it. He will always provide.
Yeah. I love it. We say that each and every week on Radio Theology. We believe that God is for you, not against you, that He's near you, not far away. And if God is interacting in your life right now, maybe giving you an inspiration, something that is interesting to you, something that you're getting curious about, maybe a gentle nudge in some way. I love what you said, Nancy. He's not just going to give you that and walk away. He's near you, and He's inviting you to step into that to make a difference. And Nancy, I love what you guys have created here in Indianapolis. I'm glad that we're partnering with you guys this year. If you want more information about what Million Meal Movement is doing, your guys' website is millionmealmovement.org.
Yes.
You can go right to the source, or if you'd like, you can go to ActivateIndy.com. Nancy, so excited about what you guys are doing. I love your story of just the simplicity and the humility of it, that you saw it, you responded to that gentle nudge of God, and to see millions of meals now being given to folks that need it. So practical, such an amazing way to make a difference, and to volunteer with your family as well. So go check them out. And Nancy, thanks for being on the Born to Be podcast today.
Thanks for listening to the Born to Be podcast. We'd love to hear from you. If you've got a question for Pastor Darren, a suggestion for a future guest, or if the podcast has made an impact in your life, get in touch with us at blackbirdmission.com. And if no one else tells you today, you were made on purpose and for a purpose. God is near to you, not far from you, and God is for you, not against you. Have a great week.